First, we had the House of X and Powers of 10, which led into the Ten of Swords, which now is going to lead into the Reign of X-Men. Are you guys still on board with Jonathan Hickman's X-Men? Hey, all my webheads out there, welcome back to Comic Book Corner 2.0, and fans, I am your host, Mike Spiderslayer, always helping you make decisions of what comic books to buy. And today, guys, we're going to have a great discussion about the X-Men. That's right, guys. Ten of Swords just wrapped up, and we got announced, right, that the reign of X-Men is upon us. This is Jonathan Hickman's next installment. This is what he has in store for the X-Men. And the big question is, are you guys still on board after reading House of X, Powers of 10, Ten of Swords, and all the other stuff in between? Are you not happy with what he's done with the characters? And we're going to discuss this teaser image that was teased to you a couple of days ago, and then I'm going to go over the list of books that's getting ready to come out that kind of deals with the aftermath of Ten of Swords and leading into this reign of X-Men, right? All right, so if I'm going to give you my 2 cents before we look at this teaser image, I have actually enjoyed Jonathan Hickman's X-Men. Has it been perfect? No, absolutely it has not. But I actually enjoyed the Ten of Swords event. Now, the beginning was cool as we got to learn about these swords and how they, came to getting these swords. The middle of it was a little bit dull because we dealt with history. They revisited issues that we had already read before, which I didn't like. But then once we got to this dinner and then to the tournament itself, I actually really enjoyed it. And I like how it wasn't so black and white, so cut and dry. Like, a lot of people were upset because we didn't see enough fighting with swords, right? But honestly, is that all you would like to see in a story? It's just people fighting each other with a sword back and forth, and then a battle ends and that's how it goes? I liked how Saturn, I don't know if that's how you say her name, actually manipulated the tournament to make it to the point where it was, Apocalypse and his wife doing that final battle, and then Apocalypse kind of playing at Saturn's own game there, at acquiring what he acquired at the end of the final issue. And I don't want to spoil that for you in case you haven't read it. So it was I liked it. I thought it was a good event, and it made me keep wanting to read X-Men. I want to see Hickman's end game overall here, right? So overall, when it came to Ten of Swords, I enjoyed it. It wasn't perfect, but I did enjoy it, okay? So now, let's move forward. Now that this is over, we have After the Dawn Comes the Reign, right? And the Reign of X begins in December, so obviously right away. And we get this teaser image here, and we get to see all different types of your favorite X-Men, and we get to see some villains as well. So some of the things that I point out that I see here is kind of cool, which is Arcade. I like seeing Arcade. We get to see Cypher and his wife. Is it Bea? I don't know if that's how you say her name, but I think she wants to be at his side, and I think that's cool that they're husband and wife. Obviously, you get to see Jean and Cyclops there. We get to see Nightcrawler reading like an X-Men book, whatever the case that may be. We're going to get the X-23 back, Laura, where they went into the vault and we haven't seen them. So, like, there's a story thread that we haven't seen in a very long time. And if you're interested in that, you're going to want to see the outcome of that, right? We get to see Wolverine as Patch, and then we get to see Maverick in there as well, which I think is cool. We get to see the return of him. There's some villains in there. We got Nimrod. So that is something that hasn't been visited since, like, House of X and Powers of 10. So there's a lot of things in this little teaser image that is, has me interested. You get to see Emma there holding a card that says H. So what does that represent as well? And then you got some other villains in there as well. So there's a lot of cool looking things in here. And again, it definitely has me interested in it. Now, let's take a look at the books that are getting ready to come out that kicks all this off, okay? In case you haven't been reading the main series and you just read, say, the Ten of Swords or whatnot. So we're going to start off with Hellions issue 7, okay? It's written by Zeb Wells, and the artist is done by Steven Segovia. They're going to explore the aftermath of the team's brutal massacre on Ten of Swords. So if you read Ten of Swords in Hellions, you wind up seeing that Sinister Six's entire team basically got destroyed. Okay, so how does he come back from that? How does he like get his DNA samples and like create a new Hellions team? Like what happens in that? So I'm really interested to see going forward there. Next we have X Factor issue 5, which honestly I completely dropped off of that book. I did not like the way it was written. And this one is written by Leah Williams, and the artist is done by David Baldwin. And this will continue to explore the consequences of the mutant death and the resurrection. So this is what the X Factor team is about. They deal with all those investigations about the deaths and the whole resurrection sequence. So out of all these X books, this might be a book I still might not read. This just did not capture my attention. This book seemed to be just a bore fest for me. Next, we have Marauders. This one is issue 16. It's written by Jerry Duggan, and we have Kate Pryde and Emma Frost enact their long-awaited revenge on Sebastian Shaw. So if you have been not keeping up with Marauders as of late, Kitty Pryde was killed at one point, okay? And so what happens is now they are trying to find the right time to go after Shaw and kill him, because obviously Kitty Pryde was resurrected and they want their revenge on him since they found out that he was the killer. I think Marauders has been a solid book, and I'm going to continue to read it because I want to see this revenge. I want to see how Kitty Pryde continues to grow as a character, and Emma and Kitty's relationship going forward. All right, the next book we're going to talk about is Sword issue 1. That's the newest X book that's going to be released. If you read Ten of Swords, you wind up seeing that sword station and Cable's sword was a key player in the victory against all the other villains or apocalypse kids and demons and all that other crazy from the other world, right? So that was a major part. So we get to see now that it has its own book that is being released, and it's written by Al Ewing, which is Immortal Hulk's writer, which is pretty cool. Valerie Skiddy is the artist here, and they take the mutant race to infinity and beyond. So this looks like we're going to be in space when it comes to our characters here, when it comes to Sword. All right, so next we continue New Mutants, and this one is a wild new era for your favorite Young Mutants, written by Vita Aliella. I don't know if I said that right. And artist Rod Reese. So we get a new creative team on this particular book as it dives into the future of these New Mutants and the reign of X-Men. So I might pick this one up again just to see if I can get, I guess, caught up with everything and dive forward into these characters, right? The next one coming out is Wolverine issue 8. This book has been written by Benjamin Percy, and the art is done by Adam Kubert, who has done a Wolverine art for the longest time, right? And we'll see Wolverine team up with his old Team X colleague Maverick. So I think that's cool, reintroducing Maverick into this series and the character back into the X-Men world. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen here. And I love this cover where you get to see Maverick and Wolverine going at it with each other. So that's neat. The next book we're going to be talking about is Excalibur issue 16, written by Tini Howard. Same thing when it came to Excalibur. This was one of the books that did not interest me whatsoever. But again, since we're going into this reign of X, I want to see if these new story arcs will interest me, going forward. So we'll see what happens with this one. They're in search for Betsy Braddock in this particular series. All right, and then the next one we're going to have is X-Force issue 15, also written by Benjamin Percy, and we get to see I guess, Omega Red back in the series, as he was in it before the whole Ten of Swords thing interrupted its potential story. For the most part, I really enjoyed X-Force all the way through. I think it was a great story. I think the artwork was great. It mainly dealt with, I think, Colossus and Domino. So we'll see what's in store here for Omega Red going forward. I love the book. We'll see what happens. All right, and then the next book, the final one, is, of course, X-Men. This is issue 16, still written by Jonathan Hickman, and the art is now done by Phil Noto. And we'll see Cyclops decide the future of the X-Men. So it looks like Cyclops, you know, he was kind of the main contributor on getting the tide to turn in their side when it comes to the victory in the tournament. And we're seeing Cyclops be that leader maybe that he once was back in the old days. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But I thought he played a very prominent role. I love the way he was in this last event, and I'm curious to see where he goes going forward. So there's all the books that are getting ready to come out. I want to hear from you guys. What's in store now for the X-Men for you? What are your expectations for these books? What do you want to see happen in the reign of X-Men, and are you guys still reading it, and did you give up on it? So I want to know all those comments below. Hopefully this video helped you to get you back on board with the X titles that are coming out, a little bit what they're about. And guys, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, don't forget to hit that bell. Until next time, this is Mike Spider Slayer signing off. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care. Bye.